We've heard a lot about NASA's lunar missions. They're doing a bunch as they prep for Artemis and sending humans back to the moon on a regular basis. PRIME-1 is another mission that they will be sending up on a lander that they're hiring Intuitive Machines for. We'll find out in our last lunar segment more about that. But this is going to deliver the TRIDENT and MSOLO experiments and technologies to the moon. TRIDENT is the regolith and ice drill for exploring new terrain, and the MSOLO is the mass spectrometer observing lunar operations. Scientists are really good with these names, huh? PRIME-1 is planning to drill into the lunar surface, harvest, and bring the ice to the moon's surface, and use a mass spectrometer to measure how much is lost to sublimation as it turns from solid into vapor in a vacuum. It will be launching on board a SpaceX Falcon 9 Block 5 and obviously heading to the moon. So this means NASA's planning on building up their understanding of water on the moon. 2 missions. Lunar Trailblazers is going to be scanning the moon's water cycle from orbit, and on the ground, on the lander, they will have this PRIME-1 technology attached to the Intuitive Machines lander, and then we'll be able to drill into the surface and learn even more. So lots from NASA around the moon. PRIME-1 is just part of it. Let's talk about the lander. And the final moon topic for 2024 to look out for is the Intuitive Machines IM-1 lunar mission. The Nova C lunar lander is planning to land near the south pole of the moon, requiring specific lighting conditions that are only available for a handful of days each month, which is why they're only thinking about a mid-February launch window, because right now it's that blackout zone for this whole environment this mission is going to. And in December, they delivered the lander to Cape Canaveral in Florida, and they've been integrating that to a SpaceX Falcon 9. It's going to be the first attempt from Intuitive Machines as part of NASA's Commercial Lunar Payload Services, or CLPS, initiative, a key part of NASA's Artemis lunar exploration efforts. We talk about this with going to the moon. We've interviewed some people who are way smarter than I have and have way more expertise than I do, that one of the biggest problems we're going to have about going back to the moon is that the infrastructure for a lot of this stuff, simple things like communicating, knowing where you are, being able to send data back and forth reliably, and not being in a blackout zone on the moon when you have human beings on board. Artemis is going to be taking those first steps, like Artemis 2, which we'll talk about here in just a second, but the infrastructure of things needs to get built. NASA can't do it all, so they create these contracts and services in order to build this up. And Artemis is way more than just going back to the moon, at least as it's planned. It's to set up the infrastructure for us to do this long term, live in space, and start getting human life off just the Earth.